one of the old TV patterns, and it's
Yeah, that's right. And then we can play the national anthems.
Yeah, no. This is just what you call it. It's what they call a cold open in the biz, right?
Oh, okay.
Listen, working in television, all I saw a lot of interesting broadcast news opens where people weren't at the desk in time, which is pretty funny.
Fantastic. Well, here we go, guys. We're already at 23 seconds in. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching us from, and whatever time of day it happens to be, whether you're with us live or after the fact. Thanks so much for joining us. And we've got a couple of comments already. Philip, Electromagnetic Mischief YouTube channel, is at the grocery store, so he's getting his beer and pretzels, I guess, for the show. And what else we got going on? So he says he's at a Russian grocery store owned by Pikov Andropov.
Well,
I don't know that person. Do you?
Wait a minute. Andropov, wasn't he he was a Russian?
Yuri Andropov was the premier of the Soviet Union.
Oh, is that the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, I think he was one of the old guys after Brezhnev died.
Yes, they must be related.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder what the significance of that is. Anyway, so he goes on. Tim is so busy it isn't funny. Well, okay, let's take it from there. Thanks, Philip. Tim, explain. Are you busy?
I'm busy.
Yeah.
Very busy, in fact.
Cool.
Like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week busy.
All with antennas.
All with antennas.
That's a good problem to have, my friend.
It is. And so people start asking you for stuff like, sweetie, I need some help with this, and honey, can you give me a hand here? And I never see you anymore.
Yeah. You don't see me any less.
True.
Okay. Well, I'm congratulations. Business is good.
That's cool.
eBay store, N9SAB antennas.
Yeah.
Now you are also on Etsy.
Yes.
Is that your two current stores? Do you have another one?
So this has kind of become a thing, right? So now I have to so I started an LLC to do it, because it gives me tax trouble like you wouldn't believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to have an LLC, and then I got to name it, and then I got to get a bank account for it, and I got to do all this stuff somewhere in between, I never see you and antennas, right? So it's going pretty slowly, but eventually what I really want, what I've always wanted, is just a regular website, commercial website with the ability to process payments and take Bitcoin. Yeah. I'll get there someday. Yeah.
I'm sure you will. I have no doubt about that. Okay, so Philip did ask him about the FX4CR. What's Philip talking about?
Philip sent me his FX4CR.
He did?
He did.
Nice guy.
No, right?
Jeez.
It's like he's warming me up for something.
I think so.
But it's really cool. I haven't had much time to play with it, but I did get it on. I turned it on, hooked it up to the big OCF dipole up top. Turned it on to 5 watts and worked a park somewhere. It was parked. Hang on a second, I'll tell you. US 4036, wherever that is.
Okay,
yeah, they changed the scheme, right? It's not a K anymore. It's a US.
Right, US, right? So they can do like global parks.
Yeah.
Well, 4036, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know where that is. Do you?
No, I didn't.
Let's look it up. I'm curious because I only did 5 watts SSB.
Right. Stand by.
Look at this. I'm moving into the 21st century now, guys. I actually figured out how to share a web page on the stream.
Cow.
Woo! So there's a Canadian dollars, by the way, before you fall off your chair. The Canadian peso, $759 Canadian. So what's that about? Is that $550 or so, Tim, in the US?
I would say less.
Yeah.
It's Walnut Creek Recreation Area in Papillon, Nebraska.
Oh, okay. So 5 watts from Chicago to Nebraska with the little tiny mic that you see there.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Huh, nice.
I like it. It's robust. I mean, it's a little brick, right?
So I'm sorry, you actually operated with it.
Yes.
And no code? You were doing the SSB?
No. So Philip, right? So Philip's kind of like my wife, right? So I'll get this. So the days leading up to him sending it to me. Did you get it yet? Did you get it yet? Oh, I tracked it. It's going to be there on Wednesday. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a big day for you. You can have fun with it, right? So yes, I got it, right? And I unpacked it, and it's in a little briefcase. It's really cool. It's like, oh yeah, it's cool. So I put it off to the side, and then continued on with what I was doing. And then I was like, well, aren't you going to try it? I mean, aren't you going to plug it in, turn it on? And finally, I was like, I was like Saturday and Sunday, I'm gonna block some time off and go play with it. But it was like 35 degrees, 40 degrees here yesterday.
Oh, it's perfect.
No.
Says Nanook of the North.
10 years ago, I'm with you. Not now. It just
no way.
So I was like, okay,
look
it up to the house antenna. Okay, fine, right? I'm gonna hook it up to the house. So I hook it up to the house antenna, and I get there, and I got to get all the little adapters out and rig up the thing, and I need the power cord to go to my power supply to hook it up and do all this stuff. So I turn it on, and lo and behold, it's a radio. Oh my gosh! And I'm tuning around on 20 meters, I think. No, it's 40 meters, 7250 or something like that, and I hear this guy calling from US 4036, I think, right? So I figured, all right, I'll give it a try. It was on 5 watts, that's all it was, and had the little tiny mic like that. So I, at 9 SAB, and he came back to me. So that was cool. And it's like, all right, so it works.
Awesome. So what did you think? Okay, operator experience for those of them that have never used it, including myself.
Well, okay, so I had it out of the box for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Got it powered up. Got it. The little dials and tunes and stuff like that. I mean, it's all. You work one of these things after a while. You kind of work them all.
Yeah.
And it'll take you 30 seconds, a minute to figure out how to tune it, and plug in the mic, and it's on SSB anyway. So I didn't have to mess with any of the settings or anything like that. It's got a little waterfall on it, so I knew there was a signal around there somewhere. So I just dialed them in. I mean, literally, it took. Probably the hardest thing was finding. He's got a BNC female coming up the side, but my main antenna goes into a box, which is all UHF, right? So then I had to find the adapter and go do it. But luckily, I remembered I had this old patch cable I made that was BNC male on one side and SO239 on the other, the UHF female. So once I have that, I grabbed that and just plugged it in, and it was all good.
All right.
But but my power supply is like up on a shelf, and the power cable they give you is maybe, I don't know, 8 inches long, something like that. So I kind of had to hold it in the air and talk at the same time because of the power cable. But I really like it. I think had I seen that, I would have bought one when they came out. It's cool looking. It's cool, and it's sturdy feeling.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Yeah, so it feels well made.
It's all aluminum chassis, all metal.
Yep.
So I mean, the buttons are firm. It's got the little screws. You know how like the Lab 599 is supposedly all aluminum too? Yeah. People love the way that feels. Well, this would be kind of the same thing because it's all aluminum, all metal. Okay. Yeah, very cool. So the issue, or at least the potential issue with this one, and the reason Phil sent it to me, he goes through things quickly, right? He gets bored quick. So he was sending CW. Now the manual, I think, tells you to only send CW at 10 watts, and he likes to send at more than 10 watts. So the audio was bleeding through a little bit. So he contacted the guy, the FX4CR guy in China, right? Who sent him just a whole new board, or he told Philip to pull one of the diodes off the board or something like that.
Yep.
Right, and then he just sent him a whole brand new board. So I've got the radio, I've got the board, I've got the ribbon cables, I've got all that stuff. It's a problem. Now the guy at 4036 said that there was some distortion in the audio, and I don't know what that means, but I mean, but he copied and I worked him, and I was literally had the thing less than 10 minutes out of the box.
So I wonder if this RF getting back into it somewhere, right?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Maybe we'll do a skit at some point with it, and you can tell me, or Philip can tell me.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. Thanks for that.
I would go so far as to say that it's a serious 817 contender.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Does that mean you're going to crack open your wallet and buy one?
No, I'm going to.
That would be the ultimate compliment from Tim, I'm thinking.
No, I'm keeping Phil's.
Oh. Hey,
crack my wallet open. Are you kidding?
Oh, somebody mailed them one. You know.
No, I got one. Possession's 9/10 of the law, man.
That's right.
He can come get it anytime he wants. How about that?
I had a friend of mine years ago that was the same way. Like he'd buy the latest and greatest whatever came out, whatever ham radio it was, and he would be on it for hours and hours and hours. Then he'd get bored with it, and he would sell it for like a bargain basement price. So we all knew, like, if you wanted the latest and greatest, convince Tommy that it's the latest and greatest. He'll buy it, and 6 months from now, you'll get it at less than half price.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Philip and I haven't talked about prices or anything like that yet, but I really like it. I think it's cool.
Okay, so Philip just weighs in. So Tim gets the Steep Friends discount. Well, that's a pretty good deal.
This sounds like free antennas.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Mike, N2MAK, thanks for joining us. Mike, hey, if you've dropped in and you're... What's that, Tim?
Mike's here.
Yeah, Mike's here. Hey,
I like the eclipse.
If you've dropped in, if you're one of the viewers that are in right now, just drop us a little comment. Let us know you're here. We can say hi. Okay, so that is that's very cool. You've done some really interesting stuff there. Now, I just want to share one screen here because I want to talk to my pal Chris. Where are we here? And I'm getting this. Why don't I see it? Hang on a sec, guys. I'm learning on the fly here. Present. Okay, present, share screen. Yeah, polish comes second on this stream. It's
no. We're authentic. Okay.
That's right.
It's authentic. This is real ham radio.
Why is that not showing up?
This is raw.
Authenticity.
This is raw.
There it is, right there. Okay, I got it now.
You were so proud. 20
Yep.
minutes ago.
Okay, Chris, you got to tell us. There's big news from Kilo 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo Radio YouTube channel.
So to all my folks here that are watching the stream live, you'll notice that the subscriber count as of today has hit 5,000, which is honestly it's an amazing, for me, that's an amazing accomplishment.
Fantastic. It is an accomplishment in this day and age. Absolutely it is.
That's more than a lot of people. It's more than a lot of people that you see running around on YouTube.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And even a lot of folks on the live streams that you'll find, the ham radio live streams, many of them don't have 5K subscribers.
Right. So I'm thankful to those that are. If you're one of those 5,000 watching this stream tonight, I thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the content I put up there and continue to enjoy it. But when I started this channel, it was just, in fact, my little welcome video kind of says it all. I did it to be a journal of what I'm doing with ham radio, and I'm just thrilled that people are enjoying what I'm putting up there. So thank you all. And I guess the next target is what, 10,000?
Yeah. Hey, sorry to interrupt, Steve. Just before you go, I just wanted to say hi and thanks for joining us. Go get that phone charged up, my friend. Thanks for dropping by. Rob Noakes, VE3 PCP. Hey, Rob, how are you doing, my friend? And nice to have you join us. And here's the other thing I wanted. Well, we're talking about your channel, Chris. You have 106 videos. That is to have hit 5,000 after only 106 videos. That is not a common path to getting a lot of subscribers, right? Many people with 5,000 or more have hundreds and hundreds of videos. So congratulations. That's a great accomplishment.
And he plays a mean mouth organ too.
He absolutely does.
And that YouTube channel is Chris Bauer Music. If you're out there,
yeah, for sure. And if you're watching this live or you watch it after the fact and you're not subscribed to Chris's channel, please go over and do that. Kilo 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo Radio. Chris puts out. There's a reason Chris is on this stream, right? I've loved Chris's stuff for years, and he does such a nice job. So go over there and subscribe. Hey, let's just I'm just going to go over to a comment here. We got Rob from my province of Ontario here. Have you worked any of the RCAF stations yet? I have been operating as VE3 RCAF recently. Used it on Ward. Okay, Rob, I got to tell you, I haven't had much time for radio, so my answer is no. Guys, are you even familiar with what's going on there?
I know what the Royal Canadian Air Force is. I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. But Ward, WARD. Can you give me some clarification? Unless you guys know, I don't know what Ward is. What Ward is? I'd like to know. Okay, what do we got here? Mark, VA3 HES. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's the Canadian Power Hour instead.
World Amateur Radio Day.
I've never heard it called Ward. I've seen a lot of Amateur Radio Day stuff, but not
okay.
Ward.
So if I can jump on that. So World Amateur Radio Day and National Harmonica Day was the same day.
Oh, no kidding.
I had a quandary. Which one should I celebrate?
Well, I have to confess, I'm slightly blown away by that.
Yep. So the suggestion.
So wait a minute. It's our 2-year anniversary, World Amateur Radio Day and World
National Harmonica Day.
Yeah, I haven't even mentioned the one, Chris or Tim. Today, this is our 2nd year anniversary for our live stream.
Holy smokes!
So it's we've had a lot of fun. We've interacted with a lot of really interesting people. It's been a great ride.
So I'm like just completely overwhelmed. National Harmonica Day, World Amateur Radio Day, 5,000 subs, and the 2-year anniversary. I have to go drinking now.
Okay, then don't forget. Now, last week, I don't know if you guys missed it. It was Bat Appreciation Day, which is a big day around here because my daughter's spirit animal is the bat. And let's Tim.
Now, how did she find that out?
What's that?
How did she find that out?
Oh, I'm just using that term because ever since we went to a conservation area when she was knee-high to a grasshopper, and they did something nobody would do anymore. They actually had a bunch of kids around, and there's a park ranger there and talking about bats, and they actually had a dead bat, and they passed it around to all the kids to hold. Well, that was it. She got a chance to do that, and she was smitten. And ever since then, she's been into bats.
I thought maybe she did like ayahuasca or something, and then had a meeting with her. So I did it.
I think so.
My spirit animal is a porcupine.
A porcupine?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Like that. Hey, Robert Varner, look at this. Sending us some drinks. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. Same right back at you. Cheers. And Rob, VE3 PCP coming back. We will be operating all day as VA3 XXT for International Marconi Day this Saturday, too. 150th birthday for Marconi. I guess you'll be working all bands then, Rob, and all modes, or at least CW and SSB. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more. And look at this. Rob comes back. Look at this, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
5,001.
That's it. We're on our way.
Hey, so are you in the union now? Is that?
He's past the probationary period.
Right. Now I have to join the union.
Absolutely. So, Rob, I just want to go back to here. So, VA3 XXT International Marconi Day. I guess Rob's going to. Oh, here we go. He's giving us more information on operating at this 160. What am I missing there? There's a caret there. AM to.
Well, you know your logic symbols.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed.
6 a.m. 6 a.m. Okay, 6 a.m. Holy cow, long day.
Caret, tilde.
6 a.m.
What's the other one?
10 meters, single sideband on 8 bands. CW on 30 meters will be live streamed. Very cool.
Wow.
I'm going to try to make a contact with you then, Rob.
When is this?
How many stations will they have? Sorry, Chris?
Oh, it's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to make a note of that.
New band each hour. Well, that's very cool. So anybody listening out here,
give me a second. I'm home alone, and I've got a dog outside.
Oh yeah.
And the yard people sprayed today, so.
Ooh, you better go, my friend.
He might be dead. Hold on.
Yeah, we don't want that. And it's a worldwide thing. Very cool. Oh, that's the bands will be hopping then.
I wrote it down. I'll see if I remember to get on and do that.
Good stuff. Yeah, thanks for the heads up, Rob. Okay. So what else? What else we got going on here? We got a lot going on. Actually, I wanted to talk about, but that FX. Yeah, that Philip guy just sending Tim a radio like that. Holy smokes, that's.
Well, listen, Philip, if you're looking to clean out your shack, you can send me all you want.
Exactly. Okay. Let me see. Oh, we're going to talk a little bit about. It's a couple of things, just a couple of housekeeping things here for people that are watching. And I'm really interested in your feedback on this. So we started off on Thursday nights. We've switched over to Monday nights. Now, we thought there was, we didn't do a whole lot of looking around, but apparently Steve, temporarily offline, he's got a live stream, which happens the hour before ours kicks off. And I guess his will spill over into our time. And we certainly didn't move this knowing that Steve was going. We just didn't plan that out too well, I guess. But between Tim, who has no restrictions on his schedule, but Chris and I, who certainly do, we've been trying to find a sweet spot. So let us know in the comments whether you prefer Thursday night or Monday night. It'd be helpful to us.
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning is an interesting time because if I want to make a special trip somewhere, it's usually reserved for Saturday morning. I get up early before my wife gets up, and that's a perfect. For example, this past weekend, I went to the Durham Amateur Radio Club flea market, the Hamfest. I couldn't have done that. Of course, it's a Saturday morning, and it's the first one I've been to probably since last summer.
You could always,
and I want to talk a little bit about that.
You could always stream your trips. Take us with you.
You don't know how much it costs to have a cell phone in Canada. All right. It's not like you folks have. It's ridiculously expensive to do live streaming like that. Unless I'm missing something, and any Canadian hams that know different, please tell me. But holy mackerel, it's just. There's a monopoly up here. Let's just put it that way. There's a few big companies, and they just hose us. That's where the term hoser comes from.
Well,
okay, Rob. Sorry, go ahead.
Dog's alive, by the way.
Oh, good.
Oh, he's fine?
Yeah, well.
Good.
It looks like I missed out on the broadcast transmitter. I just left his house.
The other dog.
If you go back?
Dog, not my dog. So Phil had this gigantic.
I lost out on the.
He's got this 10,000 watt AM transmitter in his house that he put together.
Oh, dang it.
That would look like a refrigerator.
All about it, believe me. He'll tell you all about it.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
It's very cool, but it's very big, very heavy, right? And he doesn't use it, so he sold it.
Yeah.
And it's not the kind of thing you just put in the trunk and, put in the back of the truck and go. So the guy had to come and pick it up.
Yep. Yep. No, it's
finally did. So
fascinating though, right? Wouldn't that just be awesome just to be able to use something like that?
What was
okay,
who was the manufacturer on it?
He'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see which one it was. Because I started my broadcasting engineering career as a technician at a local radio station. So,
well, there you go.
See if I can find it. See if I
can
find that.
I think it was a kit, right? So he put it together.
Oh, really? The
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Bauer. I was going to say Bauer, but I'm like, no, that's Chris's name. It can't be Bauer.
Oh, man.
I remember seeing that. I was thinking of Chris. Do you remember those, Chris? You ever hear of that?
Look at it.
So my webcam light broke, right? my podcaster light.
That LED ring?
Yeah, my wife bought me one of those little rings.
Yeah, I got the same one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine apparently just decided to start freaking out and it won't turn on anymore.
Huh.
Like it turns on, it flashes, and then it stops. So I'm struggling here. I mean, I've only used it, during our streams.
Yeah. Mine's actually upstairs. I'm not using it tonight. It's upstairs.
So now I got to go buy a new one of those. But I have this crazy Italian lamp, right? One of those Pixar lamps.
Yes.
I've been trying to use that to make it adjust. So if you see me go from darkness to the full on there like that, it's a bit much. Yeah.
If you have questions.
Yeah, see, there's his. Is that him putting the transmitter on the truck?
That's it. It's on the back of the truck, and it's lying on its side. Right? It's massive.
Who can you do that?
Nice.
And you see the way the one guy there is walking. He's sort of
he's all
over. I'm thinking he probably hurt his back trying to get
totally.
The truck. Oh man!
I mean, what if you think about it? What if you hit a pothole or something? That thing just flies up, and shouldn't you put a pad underneath that or something?
Now I'm guessing there's tubes in that. Am I right, Chris?
Probably. Yeah. Probably. Yep. If it's an old,
you'd want it sitting on a mattress or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Georgia to Alabama. Yeah, that's a long one.
No, those are good roads too.
Oh, okay. All right. Rob says we're going back to the World Amateur Radio Day. We're starting at 10 o'clock UTC on Saturday on 160 meters. Okay. 1,000 watts carrier. There you go.
Beautiful.
So one of those, you guys did some AM broadcast band DXing in your day, didn't you? They would have called those the graveyard channels. Where you had in the middle of the night, you tune into one of the graveyard frequencies that just had a pile of 1,000 watt and 500 watt stations on, and all you can hear on that channel is because you're getting a bunch of stations in at once. No one's really, and I used to leave back in, so this would have been back in the 80s. I had an 8-track recorder, a Radio Shack 8-track recorder, and what I would do is before I would go to bed, I would turn on a shortwave receiver onto the AM band, onto one of those graveyard channels, and then I'd with one of the longer 8 tracks. I don't remember, an hour and a half or something, and I just leave it on record, and then the next morning I'd get up and when I'm doing something else, I'd be listening to it to see if any station rose above the noise long enough for me to get a station ID.
I did the same thing, but I had an old Akai reel-to-reel.
Oh, you were playing with the good stuff there.
That was cool, yeah.
Okay, Philip is telling us a little bit more about that amplifier, that transmitter. That is a Bauer 707, the refrigerator of death.
I believe it.
Yeah. That's yeah. Okay, and there you go. So he did not assemble it. Floyd, hey Floyd, Q4 EUV. Thanks for joining us, Floyd.
Oh, good old Floyd. He's my Twitter buddy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Rob, back. If you get a chance, watch a video Raiza did with her big linear amplifier at her shack in Finland. Yeah, Raiza. She's an interesting person. I'm wondering if she's wealthy. Maybe Rob, because seems to have multiple residences and has access to some really interesting gear. Nonetheless, she's fun to watch. Okay, what else we got here? Whoops. So a pair of 4-400A modulated by a pair. Chris, do you know what that's all about?
I know the broadcast transmitters had like serious tubes for them to operate. And nothing you'd see in a ham rig, that's for sure.
Okay.
Pretty impressive.
All right. Rob's back. It's an R140. Okay. The big linear amplifier. Do we know what an R140 is? I'm not an amplifier guy.
No.
Okay. Philip's back, talking AM transmitter.
Yeah, hang on. Wait. This is the low power radio show, right? I'm in the right place?
Yeah, well, we that's not officially our title, so I guess we can talk amplifiers.
I love this. Closed casket funeral if one gets stupid. Yes. Those old broadcast transmitters, man. If you got stupid, you were a strip of bacon. Yep.
I want to. Oh, geez, I don't know if I should or not. I had a high school electrical teacher. He was from South Africa, and this guy was, I mean, he was South African. And this would have been back in the 70s. Yes, I'm dating myself. But still when dinosaurs still roamed the earth.
Yes.
And he told the class a story one day. He used to work for the hydro organization, you know, the big electric power distribution network down in South Africa. And he said they would get some natives. He called them native. I'm sure he didn't call them natives, but I'm using that term to help them with, you know, the more manual labors. And he said amongst the engineers, and he was one of them, he said once in a while they'd call one of the guys over, and you know, standing beside this big panel of basically electrical equipment, and they'd give the guy, you know, a pair of cables and say, here, hold these for a minute. And they'd walk over to the panel and crank the knob and watch as the guy flew back across the room. They thought this was great fun.
So he was like one of the Lethal Weapon 3 South Africans.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. Okay, a large Russian amplifier, 1.5 kilowatts, 1 tube. Well, the Russians are one of the very few that are still manufacturing tubes, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, just China manufacturing, because they're getting hard to find these days.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Thanks for that background info. Okay, what else have we got going on here? Oh, I do want to share this. Let me just share this. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but here's a video from our friend Peter from Australia, VK3YE. Have you guys been hearing about this radio?
I have been hearing about it.
I've been hearing a ton about it. So people up here are buying them in pairs. Like they're just going nuts for this thing because it's what, a $25 radio?
Here's what I don't know. Okay, and so you remember years ago when you had the Baofeng, the UV5R,
right?
And everybody ended up with one of those because they were like $25 or $30, right? And then everybody spent like the next 5 years bitching about it, right? So are we doing this again?
I think we are. It's a phenomenon.
Well, I'm seeing that, and also what's becoming a phenomenon too is the TID radios. You're seeing a lot of those out, the TID radios. That's becoming like the radio club I'm in down in Pennsylvania and a part of. They're buying like a box of those, and it's
like 2 meters though, right? There's like 2 meter 440s.
They're like a Baofeng, right? But here's the thing: they are the club bought them. They bought like a big, like a case of them, and if somebody like takes an exam through the club and first time licensee passes the technician exam.
They give them a radio?
They give them a radio, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That is a very cool idea.
Yeah.
I love that. So for people who may not be familiar with this model, so this is a dual bander, but there's firmware that you can update that actually completely unlocks this thing. You can even do single sideband HF off this. Receive and transmit.
Wow.
Hey, somebody's on 146.520. Look at that.
Wow.
So $25, people are snapping these things up, and I've heard a few guys on the repeater, and some of them are having problems with you know, the low modulation and the other stuff. I've heard a couple of them that sound pretty good. So as people have told me, you say for $25, I don't care if it doesn't work well. It's fun to play with for $25. I mean, you can spend $25 on a bad meal, can't you?
Yeah, I do all the time.
Yeah. At McDonald's.
Cheap, yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. So anyway,
I think the problem with some of these is the splatter, right? Isn't that the big issue? So I haven't heard anything about that. Maybe they've done something to improve. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it works. I mean, you know, it's always nice to have a handful of these things around. There's the Retravis ones too, I think.
Retravis.
Yeah.
And Chris, I want to talk to you about that. Yeah. But here's a Retravis. I bought these a few years ago. Redivis was, they asked me to do a couple of videos on some of their stuff, so I did them. They were a pain in the neck to deal with as a YouTube publisher, because I told them, I said, listen, I'll do this for you. Send me a radio. And they did. They sent me a few radios free of charge. But I said, it's going to take me a few months to get the video done, because I don't rush anything, and I like to look it through. Well, the minute I received the radio, they were on me every day. When is it going to be published? When is it going to be published? When is it going to be published? And it's like, yeah, I can't deal with this. And then there's my stance on dealing with the great communist threat. Anyway, before I really got serious about that, I bought these. Chris, and I want to talk to you next about GMRS.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a 2-meter handheld. When I say 2 meter, what I really mean is that it's a VHF high handheld.
Right.
Because it's programmable through software from 130, 140 maybe up to 174. This is strictly analog. But what's interesting about it is, I don't know if you can see this, but there's no LCD display on it.
It looks like a handheld.
It's a 16-channel radio, and it's got a rotary switch on the top, and it's got voice, so that you can every time you turn the button, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. But it's actually built to the same. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Islands HD1. It's the same form factor as that DMR radio, but it's strictly analog. So I thought, well, if I buy a couple of these, I could take them canoe tripping or something, and that might be interesting. And I also thought, being somewhat of a Luddite, I thought, well, if it's stupid simple to operate, I can give it to somebody that I'm with who's not a ham, and they're not going to screw it up. There's nothing they can do aside from turning the channel. And then I realized, well, I can just make all the channels the same. So even if they did that, they're still on the same channel. Yep. So I've got one of these Redivis. They're not bad. They were a little bit more money by the time you factored in shipping. But Chris, this is probably an excellent time to let me just share. You have made the dive into GMRS, and I wanted to ask you, tell us a little. Now, you've published a video on your channel, and everybody watching this should go over to your channel, subscribe to your channel if they haven't already, but also check this out. You've done some. You basically started from scratch. You built up a base unit, and tell us a little bit about your journey into GMRS.
Yep. Well, there's kind of like a quick summary of the video. Is I did it because what made me start thinking about it was a couple of months ago. You remember AT&T cell service crashed.
Yes.
We're not AT&T users, but a major cell service crashed. So it got me to thinking, like, hey, we're ham radio people, and we all go by the saying, like, well, when all else fails, ham radio gets through. And I said, okay, great. But in my case, like, my wife has no interest in getting into ham radio. So I was like, okay, so what are the options? So CB is an option, and but I wouldn't see my wife even tolerating any of the nonsense that's going on CB, so that wouldn't work. So then I looked into GMRS. So GMRS is, I'm sure most people know what it is. It's a UHF channelized service, and so what I did was I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the proper way and get myself all set up. So the first step was to get a license, and very easy to do. Well, easy if you know how to navigate the FCC website. But if you're a ham radio operator watching a stream, you already have an FRN number. So you go to your FRN page, you'll see your ham license there, and you can. That's where you would renew your license. You can apply for a new GMRS license. You do that, okay. You pay your $35, and the next day you get an email from the FCC, and your license is in it with a call sign. That's simple. So then I said, all right, well, what I wanted to do was I took Gaston's approach, right? I mean, we've had him on the channel, and his whole thing was you need a communications plan. If you're going to use this for any kind of emergency communications, you need a plan. Who are you talking to, and where will they be? That kind of a thing. So I was like, well, it's me and my wife, and roughly a 10 miles, 20-mile radius around from where we live is where we spend 99% of our time. So that's what I need to cover. So with that, I started looking at radios, and I said, well, I want one here at the house. I want a base rig, and I want to put something in the cars, but I don't want to do a mobile radio right now with antennas and all that, because I don't know if we're going to really stick with this. So I didn't want to go that crazy with it. So I bought I have the Radioddity 20-watt radio here for the home shack with a stereo antenna on a roof, and some LMR 400 connecting them together. And I got a little cheap SWR watt meter, because we're hams. We like to make sure we're getting power out, and the SWR is okay. And then for the vehicles, I got a pair of Retevis, I guess they're the, was it RB17, whatever the model number is. Yeah, that's a stereo antenna, that little vertical there. Yep. Nice little antenna, by the way. I was very impressed with it. And so we got the Retevis HTs. Now, how did I find this gear? Honestly, I went to YouTube University, like we all would do, and see who's talking about what and what's good, what's not. And a lot of the ham radio guys recommended the Retevis HTs. And Tracy, to your point, these HTs we got, if you look at the picture I got in the video, it's very simple. There's no keypad on it. There's channel up and down. There's an OK button in the middle. There's a menu button and a return button. That's it. Very simple to operate. Yes, sir.
What's that on your roof there? Is it like a 20-meter beam or something?
That's my TA33 Junior. It's a tri-bander.
Huh.
Yep. And you can see the legs from my fan dipole there hanging there too. So, anyway, so I got those HTs because they're relatively simple. You can program that radio entirely from the keypad. You don't necessarily. In fact, I haven't had it connected to a computer yet. Yeah, there it is. If you look at the bottom, you'll see that there's up, down arrow, OK in the middle. The left one, the green one, is the menu button, and the red one on the right is like a return button. That's it. So it's very simple to operate, easy to program. GMRS is channelized, so all the channels, when you get one of these radios, are already programmed in. You just have to go in, and if you want to add a PL for a repeater, you do that. Simple. So what you see in the video is all simplex. I set up my wife's car. She went out and drove around, and I just worked her from home. And we got about 2 miles, but there was a significant hill between us, so I wasn't surprised that's all we were going to get. But then I started looking. There's a website called My GMRS, which has all the repeaters listed on it. So you can go find your local repeaters. They're on channelized frequencies, so you don't have as many as you would in ham radio. And it was having I found 2 repeaters in our area that have significantly good coverage. Typically in GMRS with a repeater group or for a repeater owner, you have to ask for permission to use a repeater. And they do that honestly, I think they do that to make sure that it's a licensed operator that's going to use a repeater, because they all ask for your call sign and they can validate that easily. And I found that when you do that, they'll give you what the PL tones are, and then you can start using a repeater. I'm finding that operators on GMRS, it's like ham radio light. So people use their call signs, and there's some technical talk, not as much as you would get on a ham radio repeater, but you can get some chit chat. But they also talk about what they use with radios, what kind of HDs they've got, what kind of mobile rigs. So it's definitely not like CB nonsense. It really is, like I said, it's ham radio light. And so far, I'm relatively impressed with what I'm hearing on it. It's working out pretty well. So, but going back to the Retevis thing, that HT, I like the way it feels. It's got a good feel. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. It's very simple to program from those four or five buttons on a radio. That's it, and you're set to go. So, yeah, Retevis is good, and I bought all the stuff. I think the Retevis HTs I got on Amazon, and the Radioddity I bought right from Radioddity, the rig, and then the antenna. I think a lot of it was Amazon, but it worked. I put it together and it all worked. So
fantastic, very cool, Chris. By all means, if you haven't seen Chris's video yet, get over there and watch it when you get a chance after the stream, of course. Okay. Philip comes in. Not a lot of GMRS here near Savannah, Georgia, mainly due to lack of population density.
Right. You got to remember GMRS, the primary users of GMRS are like off-roading people, or like Tracy, you were just talking about if you went camping with somebody and you wanted a pair of radios with you. I mean, FRS, the little blister pack radios you get, is a subset of GMRS. They're like half a watt and that's it. Where GMRS HTs, you can do 5 watts, and mobile rigs you go up to 50 watts if you want.
Oh wow! Okay.
And they also you can buy your own little repeater that say you're out at a campground, a large campground, you can bring a little repeater with you, put an antenna up on a pole, and now you've got repeater coverage around the campground if you want to.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So it's pretty, but that's what it's intended for. That it's not intended like where ham radio, you get on and you just want to rag chew, meet somebody, make contacts. That's not what GMRS is about. It's literally about like having an emergency comms plan or having a utilitarian plan of, hey, we're going camping and we need HD, we need radios or something like that. That's what you would use them for.
Very interesting. Thanks for that, Chris. We got Forget Your Life here. Nice to have you on board with us again. Getting my GMRS license was harder than my tech test. The FCC website, 2 days and a phone call to navigate. It's correct.
Fortunately, I have an FRN. If you're a ham, you got an FRN number, and I just went to that page first. And luckily, thankfully, I saved the password in the computer, so it just knew, like, use this password. Yeah, sure, use it, and it worked. But the FCC website is horrible. But
here we go. So Forget Your Life comes back. The FCC website navigation made getting my GMRS license harder than passing the amateur test.
I believe
it took me 2 days and a phone call to get the FRN, which you were referring to, Chris. And CORS account. What's a CORS account, Chris? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is.
Hey, tell us. Forget Your Life.
That's so you could actually pay that. That's right. You have to pay the $35 fee, and there's a separate like banking link you got to set up with it too. That's right. That was a whole other thing you have to do. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, VE3LKS. I wish Canada would align our GMRS guidelines to mirror the US. I am woefully ignorant of what GMRS looks like here in Canada. So LKS, if you know what it's about and want to type in the sort of like a bare outline and how it might be different, please do. Kilo 6 Tango Alpha Tango, your tax dollars are our. Yes. And I can't throw shade on the US, let me tell you. We've got our tax dollars doing similar stuff up here.
I hear you're paying the new carbon tax.
Oh, jeez.
Don't you get it back?
Let's not get started. I got to take out a mortgage to put gas in my car. Jeez. So I want to tell you a little story, guys. I went to, as I mentioned earlier, I went to the Durham Amateur Radio Club. Durham is east of Toronto, so I had to drive across the big city on the weekend to get to their Hamfest, their flea market. And so I got this story to tell, and anybody who knows me knows that I don't have a big ego. I don't take myself seriously. And here's a great little vignette that I'll share. I'm not ashamed about it, but it sort of points out my human frailty. So I'm talking, I walk through one of these things, and I have a number of people coming up to me. Hey, I know you, and I've seen your videos and whatnot, and so it's nice to just have a chat.
Well, you're famous.
I've got my cap, which is VE3TWM Tracy on it.
Gotta have that.
Come up, and so I'm standing there talking to one of these fellows. Actually, it was Nick from the Ontario CB Club, who often attends these live streams. And he and I are chatting, and all of a sudden, I think we started talking. He said he's having trouble sending me emails, and I'm thinking, okay, where's my phone? And I just go like this, and I'm checking and I don't know where my phone is. And it's like, oh no, I've lost my phone. I've got 2 months left to go in the contract. You're free sailing once that happens, right? Because now you don't have to pay for the phone anymore. And it's like, I actually had a scenario 2 years ago where I literally lost a phone with 1 month left to go on the contract, and I had to buy a new one. So I was very unhappy about that. Anyway, I'm walking around. I'm going back to the tables that I've been to, and I said, "Did you see a phone?" And one guy says, "Hey, why don't you go and ask the guy with the microphone?" So there's somebody there with a microphone who's reading out the door prize number, the tickets numbers. So did you win something? Did you not? So I walk up to him, and he says, "Hey, I know you. I made a contact with you when you're out on POTA." And it's, "Well, thanks so much for the contact. That's fantastic." I said, "Would you do me a favor, please? I think I've left my phone on one of the tables. Would you please just make an announcement, see if anybody's found a phone in a blue protective case. It's got yellow trim on it." He says, "Sure, absolutely." We have YouTube star Tracy VE3TWM here, and he's lost his phone.
Oh.
I'm going like this, and it's like, gee, thank you very much. I found my phone, but anyway, so it all worked out.
What do you couldn't have one of your people take care of that? You don't carry your own phone, do you?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. One of my peeps.
You don't have a PA or something to take that for you? I mean,
what's that?
I suppose you can tell me you get your own coffee now too.
Yeah.
No. Hey, Nimrod Diaries, late to the party. November 8th, Alpha Echo. Thanks for joining us. And 7-3 right back to you. And congratulations on 2 years. Thank you very much. Yeah, and Robert's gonna chime in with a phone. Yep. There's another phone that I just found. Okay, but now we're talking about Hamfest, right? And you know, we've all had some really good success and probably had a little bit of ill success at Hamfest over the years. I'd sort of like to get into it with you, but I wanted to just sort of share something that happened on Saturday morning to me, aside from the phone incident. I went out there with a friend from the Burlington Club, Bill VE3MRX, who has attended our live streams in the past. He's just off on a cruise, an 11-day cruise, so he won't be joining us for this one. And I brought $100 with me, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to look for some small stuff. I did all my big purchasing last year. You know, I got the ICOM 705, and you know, I'm good. I'm walking around, and come across this table. Now, last year, what's that?
Look, I don't know how it is with you, all right, but like my wife will go out antique shopping, right, and I'll give her $100, all right. It doesn't matter if I give her $10. It doesn't matter if I give her $100. It doesn't matter if I give her $1,000. That money's getting spent. I have a feeling it's going to be the same for you. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. I know where this is going.
Okay. Well, you probably do. So, hey, K6TAT, he saw me at Canadian Tire, and don't defunct Canadian Tire. Don't mind defunct. I thought he'd be happier. Boy, donated his Canadian Tire money. That's fantastic. Thank you. So anyway, I'm walking along. Now, last year, Tim, and I'm going to blame you for this, we started talking about the SG 2020. You know, that 1990s vintage small 20-watt radio, the cool-looking one, like the military-looking one. And that's a wonderful little thing, right? It's just one of the coolest things ever. Last week, I'm looking through. There's a website here in Ontario. It's the Kitchener-Waterloo Amateur Radio Club, and they've got a swap shop online where guys from literally all over the country will post the stuff they're trying to sell. And I'm looking at it last week. It tends to be my bedtime reading. Last thing I read before I go lights out. And there's a guy on there who's got an ICOM 7600. And you know, and I've got a 7410 here, and I really like this read. Well, he's got a 7600 for what I think is a pretty good price, and I think it was 1,400 Canadian dollars. So that's probably, I don't know, 900 US or something like that. And I thought that's not a bad price. I thought, you know what, maybe I'll sell my 7410 and buy that one. You know, I'll throw in a few extra $100 and make that happen. But then I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on the 7600, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't see anything on there that is above that would attract me to, you know, I don't need a color screen. I've got a monochrome screen here. I don't need a fish finder, a spectrum scope, right? I have those things add no value to my experience. I'm not like the mass of ham radio operators out there who got to have those things. I'm not like that. That's not why I bought a 705. So I changed my mind. I thought, you know what? No, I'm perfectly happy with my 7410 as a base radio. You're certainly not going to take a 7600 out in the field, so that wasn't even in the cards. And wouldn't you know, the next night, somebody posted on the Kitchener-Waterloo Amateur Radio Club site an SGC SG 2000. Now, an SGC 2000, let me see if I can get this up on the screen here. Sorry, guys. Let's see if I can find it. Did I actually have it there?
Is that the model previous to yours?
There it is right there. Here, take a look. 2000. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is an SG 2000. Ooh. So this is sold predominantly into the marine market, manufactured in the 1990s. It is built to pretty much commercial standards. All right, it is not an SG 2020, which was built primarily for the ham market, and it's not, it looks solid and all, but you can tell it's not really built to the same commercial type of standard. Well, this thing is waterproof and all the rest of it. I mean, it's a marine radio, but it's definitely usable on all the ham bands. And so I saw this listed at a ridiculously low price. I think the guy wanted $300 or something Canadian for it, which is what, about $200 US. And I'm thinking, so I immediately reached out to him, and I knew a little bit about them. I thought, you know what, I like that 2020. I'm a Luddite. There's something that attracts me to the older transceivers. This thing is built to last. I want to see if I can get it off him. Well, it turns out he sold it almost immediately. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange because I didn't think that many people knew about these things. So anyway, fast forward to Saturday morning. I'm walking around with $100 in my pocket, looking for something small. And there's a guy on with the table, and he's got one of these. And he wanted $225.
Same guy?
Not the same guy. Not the same guy. Now, two things attracted me about this radio. The first one is, I'm all about power consumption, right? This thing draws 800 milliamps on receive, which is less than an FT891, which draws at minimum 900 milliamps if you really tweak it. But this thing is, just loafs along at 800 milliamps on receive. The other thing is, get this, it'll put out 150 watts. It's got two power settings, 150 watts or 50 watts. And it's got two final RF amplifier stages in parallel. So if one of them drops out, the other one will still work. It's sort of like an emergency mechanism for this. And when it's at 150 watt, each of those amplifier sections, those are used concurrently, right? They're used at the same time. So each of those amplifier sections are rated at 150 watts. So when you're running 150 watts, it's literally running at a 50% duty cycle. Yeah. And when you run at 150 watts, it draws something like 16 amps, which is less than a lot of rigs will put out 100 watts at. So I'm thinking to myself, Parks on the Air, wouldn't it be cool to run 150 watts for a couple of hours and do it easily on a 30 amp hour battery and just have some fun with it? So $225, I started to talk to the guy. And I've only got $100 in my wallet, of course. And he says, well, I think there's a problem. And he said, it may be the microphone, it may be the relay. I'm not 100% sure, but there doesn't seem to be any modulation on it. So I said to him, okay, I talked to my friend that I went there with. I said, would you be able to loan me a few bucks or maybe take me over to an ATM to get a little bit more money if I can talk this fellow down? So he said, yeah, sure, because he was walking around. He wasn't going to buy anything, but he had a bunch of money with him. And I went back to the guy and I said, listen, we don't know what the issue is with it. Will you take $150 for it? Well, of course, 150 Canadian is like $100 US. So he did. He said, sure, yeah, okay.
No. Really?
It is.
And here it is.
I'm never going with you to a dog shelter.
So we're gonna see. I've got to do some digging. I'm waiting on a power cord to come in tomorrow. I'll do some testing on it.
Wow.
So there you go. That's my.
Wouldn't it be funny if it'd be great if it was just like the mic cable, or like there was a wire off inside the connector or something that caused the modulation problem. That'd be great.
Okay, Mark, I want to talk to you. Mark is the fellow that I talked to afterwards, after they had announced that hey, YouTube star Tracy has lost his phone. Mark came walking up to me, and right next to the SG 2000 was what looked to be an immaculate condition SG 230 tuner. And Mark, I want to let you know, I've been kicking myself ever since for not buying both of them. So Mark actually scooped it. He comes up to me and he's got the tuner under his arm and he's happy as can be, and I don't blame him a bit. So here he is. He's saying, "I'm sure glad I grabbed the SG 230 tuner sitting next to that radio, and happy I talked the seller down to $120. It was in perfect shape." Mark, I'm going to ask you a favor. If you ever decide to sell it, please reach out to me. But good for you. Good for you. That's fantastic. Philip is asking, another radio. Did you keep the SGC 2020? Yes, the SGC 2020 is not going anywhere, Philip. Absolutely. Hey, Mike, Tim might need to launch a new line of 150 watt antennas. and that's absolutely correct, because now I got to go buy myself a 150 watt antenna, because I only have one.
Puts out 150 watts. Sure, no problem. I got one. I got one in mind for you. You need the tuner, or maybe not.
I'm okay with tuners. Okay, look at this. Here we go, Philip. You don't need a tuner. Use one of Tim's end-fed half-wave aerials, and they are good.
That's right.
I'll hook it up just for you. 150 watts, no problem.
Hey,
use a resonant antenna, you'll be fine.
Mark, thank you. Mark's telling me that I'll get first right of refusal if I decide to sell it, and I'm not joking. I have been kicking myself ever since that I didn't snag it.
Put that thing on the camera again. Can you? Yeah. What did you? That was not a little thing.
Oh, no. This is a bit of a beast.
Wow. That's a rig.
Okay. So what have I got in the picture here? Is that the front that came off? Is that?
So this is a unique radio from many perspectives. So the head does come off.
Okay.
But in addition to that, you could leave it on there and you can actually daisy chain separate heads on it, so that you could think about it installed in a boat.
Yeah.
So now you could have a control head in different rooms in the boat.
Yeah.
It was completely designed that way. If you take a look at the picture here, you can see these green bars. That's where you plug the extra heads into.
Okay.
Fascinating. It's a fascinating radio. I'm really looking forward to having some fun with it. And it's going to be a long-term project, because I don't know how much. It may just be the microphone. But
you're gonna power this how?
Well, that's the beauty of it. It doesn't take as much power as you think it does. It takes less power than an FT891.
You're still looking at a couple of decent-sized batteries, though.
30 amp hour battery will run an 891 for several hours.
Okay.
So I've got a 30 amp hour battery here. I've got a 20 amp hour SLA.
You could always mount it in your boat. Put the boat on the trailer and take the trailer to the park.
I can route it on my canoe. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, he wants 100% duty cycle, under 50 watts, FT8. Get right in.
I can just imagine the matching unit's going to be about this big around.
Sure.
Okay. What do we got here?
Are you happy?
I'm so, and that was probably the bottom line to that whole rambling story. I'm happier with this than I would have been with the 7600.
Then that's all that matters.
There you go.
I'll tell you the same thing. To bring it back around, I'll tell you the same thing I tell my wife. Are you happy? If you're happy, then
you do the right thing.
Yeah. then it doesn't matter. But you were going to blame me for something, and I'm still waiting to get to that part.
I'm not blaming you. Oh, the SGC 2020, because we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Before I went down to Dayton.
Oh, so wait. Now you have a habit, and it's my fault.
Well, we live in that age, right? We live in that age. This is a societal thing now.
I'm your enabler. I'm your radio enabler.
That's right. Hey, Philip comes in and says the G90 sips at around 0.48 amps receive. Yep. Yeah. Good rig.
And he won't do it. He won't do it, Philip.
He won't do it. Oh, the G90? No.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you can go to a Hamfest and buy a 150-watt maritime radio.
But here's the deal. For some reason, I'm attracted to the older, simpler
stuff. There are older radios I love. I sent you some Hamfest footage, didn't I? Of boat anchor rigs that I dearly love, and if I had other circumstances, i.e., people in my house, I would have more of them.
Very cool. Mark, VA3HES is back. The Phoenix connector that belongs on your radio was still attached to the tuner. Come visit me at the Mississauga Club Station. I'll give you a sackful. Is that the same plug that will allow me to, and I don't know, I'm not really familiar with the Phoenix connector, Mark. I don't even know if you know this, but I guess I need a similar type of connector to plug in an external speaker. So that's one of the things I'm going to look for on that, because I've heard the internal speaker on the head isn't that great. Now, if I'm operating portable, who cares? But if I use it here in the shack, I might be interested in even maybe an outboard, because they're a bit noisy, right? They don't have. If
you do the Lake Michigan thing, that's the radio you got to bring.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go. We'll do a charter. We'll do Lake Michigan on Lake Michigan. How about that?
Charter. Yeah, we forget running from the beach. We'll run off a boat
and do some radio stuff.
And look, if the guy wants to stop, and if you want to stop and go fishing, just throw the radio overboard as an anchor. You'll be fine.
It's a literal boat anchor, right?
Literally.
Hang on. Keep going.
70G. Philip is talking about a Yaesu FT70G. Let's see if I can get a image of that. Well, that looks like a nice radio. Hang on a sec here, guys. Stop screen. Share screen. So there is a 70G. That's a sweet looking radio. Wow. But rare as hen's teeth and semi mil spec. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, Mark just came back to me with a little connector, the little strange connector on the back of the SGC SG2000, that I'm correct about it. And so thank you for that offer, Mark. I appreciate it. And we talked about maybe me doing a presentation out at the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club in the fall. So maybe we can make that happen.
Hey, what do we got here?
Okay. What's that?
What do we got here? This is the tuner?
No, this is an FT70G.
Oh, yeah, this is the one Mike was sorry, Philip was talking about. Yeah, so there's a matching tuner for it.
Why has it got rails on it? Is that supposed to be like a maritime version too, or?
Well, these things can all be rack mounted, right? So my SG2000 actually came with a rack mount kit. It came with a bunch of different accessory stuff that I won't be using, but kind of nice to have. And by the way, the front face on it there's a few scratches on the casing, but the front face was in really good condition.
It looks really 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it'll drive some people nuts because it doesn't have a tuning dial. But so it's got the up and down arrows, and it's got direct frequency entry.
Well, you're maritime, right? So you're only doing.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's got something like 400 maritime HF frequencies programmed into it. Okay. But I figure if you're using it for parks on the air, all you need to do is find a clear frequency and stay there. It's not like you're tuning up and down the band. So
True. With 150 watts, you just chase everybody off anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Let me see here. So Philip is talking about this. A lot of the Sandinistas bought these. Whoa, hey, that's Nicaragua.
Yeah,
is that what the Sandinistas are? Yeah, geez. Reminds me of the ANPRC 104 man pack. Yeah,
that was a Korean War vintage.
Those were brutes, weren't they? I mean, those were seriously rugged.
That's what Philip used when he was in, just after World War II.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. What else have we got going on here, guys? I wanted to take a look here more into. Yeah, okay, let's go take a look at this. So, Vietnam.
Yeah, I know. I was being facetious.
Okay.
I figured I'd put another 20 years on it, 10 years, for
synthesized 2 to 30 megahertz. Well, that was really something for the 60s. Post-Vietnam. Okay. Philip, since Philip is chiming in with lots of comments tonight, here's his channel, Electromagnetic Mischief. So if you haven't seen Philip's channel, please go over there and give him a subscribe. He does really short videos. You won't spend a lot of time watching a Philip video, but they're fun to watch. I just love this, Philip. You've got some, I think you said you bought this trailer hitch pole mount off of Etsy.
Yes.
And I think this is a very cool thing.
I gotta look and see if he's got a link to the item on Etsy, because I want one of these. I don't use a mast, right? I've never had the need. I don't. It's just one of those things. What the hell am I going to do with it? But if I had a hitch mount like that, that's something I would do. Yeah.
I'm looking at it like that, and I'm thinking I got to go get a trailer hitch, because I don't have a trailer hitch on my Outback.
Well, how are you gonna run your radio? How are you gonna run your boat radio if you don't have a trailer hitch? Nobody thinks these things through. That's what I'm talking about, right? Now we got to go buy more stuff.
I got to tell you, I'm aside from the odd canoe trip, I'm a landlubber. That's all there is to it. Okay, so there's that. Let's.
The next video he does ought to be the installation or the hookup or something like that for it, because that would be cool. And then I would know exactly what I'm getting into when I go buy one. Otherwise, I have to guess. And I'm not the trailer hitch guy by any means.
Hey,
the Jeep has a hitch mount. I mean, I can do it because my wife's got her little her she shed that she tows around.
Oh, okay. Oh. Check this out, guys. Okay. One of my viewers sent me a link on this, and I think this is the greatest. This is the greatest thing. We were just talking about my little 20-watt SGC SG 2020. Well, somebody's figured out, and they've got a unit that'll do it. Add a pan adapter to that radio. How cool is this? And of course, it's not just this radio. You can add this particular. This is one of those project type things, like a community project. And if you go over and you go to their website, you can get on their list, and they'll, as they're building them, you can get on a wait list and buy one of these. I have no idea what it costs, but I think this is great. So Quantum SDR is the name of the channel. Go over there and check out. They got a bunch of videos showing this thing off. But when I saw that they had it hooked up and working with the SG 2020, I thought, oh, okay, that is very cool.
What other radios does it do?
Oh, Elecraft, Zygu, on and on.
Really?
I didn't pay too much attention to all of them, but it sounds like it's here. I mean, just the title here, classic HF transceivers. So I guess there's quite a few, as long as you can find the right place to tap into.
And so is that their little device that they've got there? It's where do I get that?
The device, like the screen, that's their project. And if you go there, you're going to be able to buy one of these things. Hey, look at this K6TAT. I imagine Tracy will be sitting in his bathtub with an inflatable boat and wearing a captain's hat and his radio sitting on the commode. What I wouldn't mind is like a voyage to the bottom of the sea view. That's that would be.
Oh man, now you're really showing your.
Yes, indeed. Okay, Nimrod Diaries have to bounce. Here to leave some AI algorithm food for Tracy too. Thanks. Hey, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right. Let me see. What's Philip got to say? You can ask for black instead of white.
Trailer hitch, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
Black or white? Okay. What? No.
I didn't know there were white. I don't think that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
He has say, don't buy the cheap ones for around $7. That is only the print 3D file. Philip, I'm sorry. I'm.
Send the link, Phil. Send the link. We could go there right now if you wanted to.
Yeah, we can try that. Okay. What else we got going on, guys? Just gonna stop this.
So for those who joined us late, Tracy figured out how to share.
Oh yeah, and I'm having a great deal of fun.
And that's where we're at.
You know what? While we're doing this though, let me get back to this. Chris, you were showing us some stuff earlier. Some of the first stuff you ever bought at a.
Oh yeah, so we were talking about Hamfests, right? So I was thinking back over the years, and one of the very first Hamfests I went to. This goes back into the probably late 70s, early 80s maybe. But anyway, I picked up and I still have it. This little SST1 tuner. It's a little LC tuner, and this is a little what the hell kind of lamp is that? It's a little I forget the kind of bulb it is, but it kind of tells you whether you've got some SWR or not. Somebody probably remembers what that is. I forget what it is. But anyway, yeah, you got a switchable inductor and a capacitor, and on the back it's got an SO239 for the rig, and then you hook up your long wire or whatever it is on this, and you're on the air, and it works. I used it actually for field day. When I did field day in my backyard, I ran a long wire and hooked it up to this, and believe it or not, I made a bunch more contacts on this than anything else that weekend. So this was it was pretty cool thing. Then fast forward to about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I went to the New England ARRL convention and got this for $40, little Dentron tuner, and the plan was to use this either in the field, but it's kind of bulky to carry around. Or I have it connected to my Tempo 1, so I can use like the off-center fed with it, and so it's interesting that the two things that I remember buying that I still have from Hamfest are antenna tuners.
They look amazing.
Yeah, typically when I go to Hamfest, I typically go home with like a pocket full of connectors and maybe some cable and stuff like that. I don't usually make like significant radio purchases at a Hamfest because honestly, you don't know. You may get that thing home and you got a dud, So yep. I'm always a little reluctant to do that, but yeah, you never know. You might find something. I bought in my truck. I have an old Radio Shack analog scanner that works fine. I programmed in all the local police and fire in that thing, and because there's still an analog here in Connecticut, so that works. And that was a cheap little $20 Hamfest buy. So yeah, I've done things like that. But I remember one time I bought one of those. Remember the Heathkit station monitors had the scope on it?
Yeah.
I bought one of them at a Hamfest one time. It worked great. But then I was like, my shack was starting to get just piles of stuff. It was like I had the monitor, I had a merch tuner, I had the rig. I got to clear all this crap out of here. So I sold it all.
So I put a link. I put a link in the private chat if you want to check that out.
Oh, Philip was going to send me an email, but okay, let me see if I can go find it.
It's right there.
Copy link address. Thank you, Philip. All right, here we go, guys.
Oh, it's the white one in the picture, but okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, what do we think? Black or white? You know what? I like the white for a visibility perspective.
Yeah, so you don't walk into it.
Yeah, exactly. Or others don't walk into it.
Yeah.
And that's cheap. Holy cow, Canadian. Like
yeah, it's 25. It's 25 something US, and let's see. You have to. Well, it's $10 to ship. Okay.
All right.
Okay, but it's for the listing is for the plastic mounts only, so none of the metal parts in the photos.
Right. It's just the white parts, right?
It looks like. So you would need to get
the mount.
Yeah, here's I'm not sure which one he's using, but there's a couple. So here's another one. There's a flagpole hitch mount, a triple flagpole hitch mount. I don't see the one here. Let's try this one here. It looks like okay, that's in the private chat now too, which would be the metal part, right? And the pins. The pins are easy. You probably just get those at Home Depot or something. The actual hitch mount, the one I'm looking at, is $45. So just a steel hitch mount. So for less than $100 all day, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, so there it is right there. Yeah, a little bit more, but now, Philip, that first one that we looked at, I think you made a comment in your video that you wouldn't want to leave the pole set up in that position for windy conditions. Now, was that simply because of the antenna that was on the top? You had one of those, I think it was a chameleon, one of those V antennas, and I'm trying to remember what the name was. Was that the reason why, or was it simply because you didn't trust the hitch mount to be able to actually hold up the pole in windy conditions? Mike says, I haven't got any major, and Mike, N2MAK, I haven't got any major deals at the Hamfest flea markets yet, but my club does an annual auction, and I got 2 great older HTs last year. An ICOM 32AT, man, those are nice radios.
Yes, they are.
Dual band, and an Alinco DJ296. Oh, 1.25 multi-band, fantastic. I wonder if you've got a 220 repeater up your way. Philip saying, I had to get an 18-inch extender to clear the tailgate. Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 pictures. If you go to the listing, there's the picture with the white pieces that you see with the pins in. That's the short one. And there's a second picture there, and it looks like that's got the extender.
Sorry, this one?
And I think that's what he's talking about. No, go back to the actual item that he was talking about.
With the original one?
Yeah, 1673127.
Okay, I got to go back. I closed that tab.
Because this is something I'd actually be interested in. This is cool. Although if those are 3D printable, I don't know why you wouldn't 3D print them.
Okay.
Yeah, see that second photo on the left?
There you go.
Yep. That looks like it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Whoops. Hold on. What else we got? Oh, Tim, you sent over a couple of links. Here's one here.
Yeah.
$50 FT101E.
There you go.
No, okay, $50 at a Hamfest. Okay, that's how you spend $50 at a Hamfest. You pick up an FT101E.
Nice.
You know, what is it about the FT101Es? I can tell you that the number of times that I have seen pristine FT101Es, some of them with the plastic still on the front panel, just immaculate. I don't know how people manage to keep them in such great condition. But,
they made a lot of them, you know.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody like someone else I know who just collects radios, you know, and
oh yeah,
you buy it, and it sits on a shelf, and die, and you find it at a estate sale, and it's never been touched.
Well, wait a minute. Is this being spoken by the guy who's got a beautiful little radio in a box somewhere tucked away on a shelf that he's taken out once just to make sure the box wasn't empty?
Yeah. Well, did I tell you what I paid for it?
Well, unless it was free, I mean, it's hard to imagine.
I don't know. They made a lot of FT101Es in there.
They did, and it's a fantastic radio. Back in the day, it was one of the top drawer radios you could get.
$50 at a Hamfest.
Yep.
At the what was the one with the digital display? I saw a beautiful one at the Hamfest on the weekend. Do you remember? It was the latest in the line, I think, and it had a digital frequency display on it. FT101Z something, I don't know. I'm forgetting what it was, because there were a whole line of these FT101s, right?
Yes.
There was an EE. There was ZD. Was it as FT101 ZD? Was that the one?
Maybe.
All right.
And if I were just starting out, knowing, and I got to know everything that I know now, I would probably have a couple of those in my repertoire.
Yeah. Tim, you also sent this link along.
Oh, well, we were talking about Hamfest.
Yep.
So there's a Hamfest schedule down there.
Yep.
This is a great.
Everybody keeps talking about, there's lots of local Hamfest. There are no local Hamfests around here. And there's one. I think there's one in September down in.
Mind you, that database there, or just the ARRL.
Right.
Hamfest. So, but there might be others.
There's one down in Rosemount, but I'm not trucking down to the city to go to a Hamfest. I don't, and everything there is going to be like super overpriced anyway.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you a story. See, my mom and my grandmother and my sister, and now my wife, are all antique collectors, right? They go out to all these little flea markets and all these little places, and they do all these little things. So as a child, I got dragged to the Lake County Fairgrounds and Kane County and all these places, right, where there's absolutely nothing for a kid to do. Can't touch anything.
Oh, yeah.
So I spent my childhood being dragged looking at, Victorian whatnots and shit like that. So that kind of thing isn't fun for me, really.
No.
Okay? I don't care about stained glass or carnival glass or, any of this other stuff or what do they call those little knick-knacky stuff or mourning jewelry or any of that. It doesn't holds no attraction for me. So I get the heebie-jeebies every time you see all these people start breaking out their little folding tables and their shitty little risers and plates and stuff and got their little tents out for, hey, cheap, kind of. No, not doing it. No, somebody got wise and just invented eBay. Okay, so
yeah.
My thing with Hamfest is that what I like about him is walking around just looking at the older gear and just guys say, I remember that. I remember that rig, I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, a guy, he passed a number of years ago, this guy, Steve Mendelson, who was big with the ARRL for a number of years. I worked with him at ABC for a long time. And I was at a big Hamfest in New Jersey and he was at it. And there was a guy selling a Collins S-line. Right, which was remember back in the day that was the Cadillac of radios, the Collins S-line. The guy had an S-line, immaculate condition. He was selling it for $500. And that's a number of years ago, but it's like $500. So Steve looks at me, and goes, "Well," he says, "back in the day," he says, "you didn't have the money you couldn't afford that radio." He says, "And now you're old enough where now you can buy a 35-year-old Collins S-line for $500." He goes, "But you're getting a radio that's 35 years old." And I said, yeah, I guess you got a point there. So, but I like looking at the older rigs. It's
there are some beautiful ones too, and I wasn't so big on the brand, but I sent Tracy a couple other little Hamfest tours and stuff like that, and you look at some of those like the old Collins and the Hallicrafters and that mid-century modern type looking stuff. I like that. Yeah. Now I like that look. For a radio, it looks like a radio.
Yeah, the Collins.
People now see that right there. That's the creme de la creme. I don't know what he wants for that. What did he say? $295? Sold.
Yep.
Ken, what is it? Ken, what?
I'll take the tuner.
Yes, 820.
Yeah, I'll take the tuner and the mic too.
Yep.
Has he got the VFO and the power supply? I'll take the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good rig. That was a good radio.
No, I had the 830.
Do you remember the Kenwood twins?
No.
I think it was the R599 and the T599. Beautiful. They had like a brushed aluminum front. Totally different look for Kenwood.
Oh.
Absolutely magnificent looking radio.
Maybe if I saw them, I know what they are, but I can't keep all the numbers straight.
Kenwood twins. Beautiful radios.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, I would take it, and then I'd ship it up to those Yankee Electronics guys in Green Bay, and they'd clean it up. They do it clean.
Oh, nice.
They do the tube matching for you and all that stuff, and a month later you get it back. It'd be like a brand new rig.
A brand new rig.
Wow. Yeah. Very nice.
Of course, you would pay more for that than you did for the radio.
True.
But I mean,
yeah,
because that's a hybrid, right? I mean, that's got the
I believe so. Yes, probably a more solid state on the receiver side.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, listen, we got a couple of comments here that I want to get to. So Mike, N2MAK, there are a few 1.25 meter repeaters here in my area, Western New York. He's in the Finger Lakes region, I think, aren't you, Mike? That I can hit, but not a lot of activity. Right. I do use the Alinco HT with a roll-up J-pole antenna for 1.5 meters in the VHF contest, though, which is fun.
You know what I love about Mike? I love about Mike. He gets around, right? I mean, he's AMing on 40 meters. Now he's got the Alinco HT. He's doing everything. I dig it.
You know what, Mike? We're not that far apart, you and I, geographically. Maybe one of these days we should try to figure out how to get together and shoot a couple of videos. Okay, let's talk about. We're back to that trailer hitch with the spider beam mast, and here's what Philip has to say. Anything over about 25 miles per hour, I would guy it. Now, Philip's an engineer. He understands these things, the forces of physics. The separation on the adjustable hitch is not that much. A custom adjustable hitch with the two clamps further apart would work better. Yeah, it makes sense. He also goes on to say, this pole I salvaged has a tremendous amount of play. Oh, okay, so maybe he doesn't have a pristine spider beam because there's no play in the spider beam pole that I have. Now, he goes on to talk about the antenna that he's using. This is the Chameleon CHA-TDL with its 30% losses in the hybrid mini unit. Wow, will work much better if it's elevated with some directivity. Works Spain on 20 meters single sideband at 20 watts Sunday, around 2200 Zulu.
Nice.
Well done. And he goes on to say, my favorite Kenwood of all time.
Yeah, 940.
Yes, 940 SAT.
Beautiful radio.
Yes.
I had a 930 for a number of years, and I got it through that guy Tommy I was talking about earlier. He had it, and he bought it brand new, loaded it up with filters and options, and then he sold it to me for $500, and it was a magnificent radio.
Let's take a look here. So here's what I'm getting for that model. Now this one is showing here as a 940S. Is it the same model?
Same
just
rig,
with an internal tuner?
The AT had
AT is automatic tuner.
Yep, that's it. That's the 940.
Very nice. Wow, that's a beautiful looking rig.
It is beautiful.
That was all solid state too, right?
Yep. Back in the day, that was the radio to get.
And so that'll run you. Let's see.
Lightning killed it. Oh, I'm just reading that now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a shame. Hey, Nick, saw you on Saturday. How are you doing, sir? Thanks for joining us. And we're back to Philip. Probably my favorite ham rig of all time.
Yeah,
I can see why.
Yeah,
I can see why. That is just gorgeous. Leave no band, and we're talking about Mike and his getting around frequency agility and mode agility. Leave no band and leave no mode behind. That's amazing. Minus 1.5 dB for 30%. Well, that's not bad. Really? That's a quarter of an S unit. Get a 940 over 6M serial number. Okay, yeah, that's a good tip.
Yep.
Earlier ones had problems with the power supply board and PLL board. I remember Kenwood having some kind of issue with the traces on their boards back in the 80s into the 90s. where they would go bad over time. And I don't know for sure that that's the case, but I heard a lot of that back around that time. Gentlemen, I think we're going to pull the plug. We've had a really good run here. Tim, let me throw it over to you first. Any parting words?
Just I'm so happy that you have a new toy.
Oh, I do indeed. But as I said, it's a long-term project. This is not something I was expecting to buy. I'm much happier with it than I would have been with a.
Yes, but it's the little roads, it's the little side roads on our ham radio journey that make the trip so worthwhile.
Buy experiences, not things.
That's
Dr.
right.
Wayne Dyer. What do we got here? Oh, Philip, I just wanted to continuing on the Kenwood dots on display. Tantalum caps would go bang.
Didn't that happen in? I think the 8. Oh no, there was another series of Kenwoods that did that too. They had a problem with that, and you had to get in and change out some caps and stuff. Yeah, well, it was a common Kenwood problem.
Let me just. I've got Mark VA3 HES. He came in and said the Kenwood TS 2000 still one of his favorite rigs. Let's just show that. That is a beautiful looking video.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so a quick plug. If you go to Yankee Electronics, they've got all of these for sale.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Again,
Yankee.
I'll send you the link in the
Yankee. Okay, no, I got it here. I think.
Yeah.
Kenwood Radio Specialists.
Yeah, go to the store, and then sort by price.
Here we go. Present. There's screen, man. I'm almost getting proficient at this. So there we go.
Wow.
So here we go. And with transceivers, this thing gonna go live for me. Here we go. All right. TS 2000. There's one for $13.29. Well, they're not giving them away, are they?
They're refurbished. They've done the. I think
restored.
The ones that these have been given the work over. I think you got to look in the description though, because most of them are the ones that they're charging for.
Yep,
have been recapped and done a whole bunch of stuff to them.
But you really have to like the radio, because when you're paying that kind of money, you could buy a pretty nice new radio for that.
It's a specialty.
You're getting a new rig.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, you're getting a new
Chris,
rig.
You're saying it's like getting a new rig? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's like getting a new rig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
I don't think they have the 940, but they certainly have the 850 SAT, which looks kind of like it.
I had a 570 for a while. It was a nice radio too.
Yeah.
I've had
a
couple of them.
reputation.
I've had the 830. I've had the 520. I've had. I can't even remember. The 830 was certainly my favorite, though.
Yeah, Kenwood's got some beautiful radios. Anyway, guys, let's put a bow on this one. I'm fading fast, and I'm working all day tomorrow, so it is time to get moving on. Let's take a look here. Tim, sorry, I think we were at final. Sorry, just a couple of comments here. The TS440 from NEC, Ontario CB Club, had so many issues. Yep. Kilo 6 TAT, it's okay to pull over and QRP on the side of the road. 7-3, thanks for joining us. Mike, N2MAK, even though I've only been a ham for 3 years, I do love the look and feel of the older gear.
Nothing like it.
Well, treat yourself.
Yeah, go to Hamfest and buy something.
Like I did. Yeah, $150. You'd be amazed what you can buy.
That's right.
You probably don't want one.
All you have to do.
Beauty of it.
All you have to do is there's 1,000 Hamfest YouTube videos on there, and they are all the same.
They are
absolutely.
The only thing you're missing is the scent of stale beer and hot dogs.
That's right.
Bad coffee, burned coffee.
In these
burned coffee, and they're right.
Super cold metal buildings with the hard ass concrete floor.
And let's not forget the guys walking around with a baseball cap with a rubber duck
call sign. Yeah, the trucker caps, right?
Yep.
And you guys,
and there are not many places where you can have the same conversation 10 times in a row.
Yep. Yep.
7-3 Mark, 7-3 to Philip. Do you guys have 807 gardens? You ever hear of those? So in Canada, they had this thing called the 807 garden at flea markets.
What's that?
So once you got past 12 noon, they could open up the bar and serve bottles of beer, and they called them 807s.
Listen, most Hamfests in this country are over by 11 o'clock.
Same here now.
They started.
It used to be different.
I could see that. Yeah.
They start at 8, and by 11, people are packing up.
They're cleaned out. They're ready to go to the next one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hams are notoriously early risers.
Yep.
Chris, any final words? Any final thoughts from you?
Well, once again, thank you to those who have subbed to my channel and got me to that 5,000 sub milestone. I'm thrilled and honored to get there. So thank you all, and also thanks for watching us for 2 years.
Remember, the first 5,000 are the hardest to get.
Has it been 2 years though?
Yeah, it has.
Wow. Okay.
There we go, gentlemen. All right, thank you very much. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Don't forget Tim's eBay and Etsy store, N9SAB antennas. Don't forget, go over to Chris's channel, Kilo 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo. Subscribe.
And don't forget your channel either.
yeah. And looking forward to chatting again with you next month. 7-3, everybody.
All right, I'm going light shopping.
Good idea.